Hi, this is Kelly Barnes from San Jacinto College, and in this video I'm going to show you how to share content within Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Once you have a session set up for your class, you can join that session. And as the session loads, you'll see your name appear as it's going to appear to the students. This is the name associated with your Blackboard account. Right now I'm the only person in the room, and Blackboard lets me know this. I have the option from the very beginning to share audio or to share video with my students. I'm going to leave those options off as I'm getting things set up. Over here on the Open Session menu, you have the option to start recording your session. You might want to wait until you have everything set up, but once you're ready to teach your class, you want to make sure you're recording it if you want your students to be able to view the session after it's over. I'm going to close that session menu. The menu that we're primarily going to be working with is on the bottom right. It's this menu shown in purple. It's called the Collaborate panel. When you click on that to expand, you have the option to type something to your students using the chat tool, and your students can type messages to you. You'll see who's signed into the session. Right now, I'm the only attendee. And it's this menu here that says share content that's really the most useful for getting things set up and for sharing different types of visual information with your class. So when I click on share content, I see that I have primary content, secondary content, and breakout groups. I'm going to go through the different types of options within the primary content menu. I'm actually going to start at the bottom with share files because this is the one that's I think going to be used the most frequently. So if we go over to share files, this is where we have the option to add a PowerPoint file, an image file, or a PDF file that we can share with our students while we're teaching. So I've got two files already loaded in here. And the way that we add files in is we select Add Files. You navigate to the particular page or folder within your computer that you want to add those files from, and you select that file and add it in here. Now I'm just adding a duplicate file that I already have loaded to show that it does take several seconds to upload the file and then to convert it to the appropriate file type. So if you're going to be using a large PowerPoint file in your class on Blackboard Collaborate Ultra or a really big PDF, something that has a lot of images, you want to give yourself enough time for that file to upload and to convert. So you can see that this file is still loading here. Once that file gets added into your main room's files, you can use it for the duration of the session. And to begin sharing items from that file, you select the Share Now link on the bottom right side of the page. Now over here on this preview panel on the right, this is not yet visible to the students. This panel on the left here shows what the students are seeing on their screen. So right now I'm not sharing any files. I need to click a slide over here on the right in order to make it visible to the students. So let's say I want to just put the chapter title up for the students to look at. Now that this appears on the left-hand side of the screen, this is something that the students can view. If I want to begin lecturing, I might select Share Audio and begin talking to my students about what I've displayed on the screen. I have other tools available to me to use up here. They include a pointer, a selecting tool, a pencil, a shape drawing tool, a text tool, and an eraser. You can see right now I have my cursor moving around on the slide that I'm sharing. It's important to know that your mouse is not by default visible to the students within Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. If you wanted to emphasize a certain area on the screen and have the students see that, you need to make sure you have the pointer selected, and then that mouse will appear on the screen for them so that they can see what you're pointing to here. If you want to emphasize something in a more permanent way, maybe I really want to underline the word statistics here, I can use the pencil tool to do this. I can also change the color of pencil that I use if I want to put different things into different color writing here. If I need to draw a shape like a circle or an ellipse, I can use the tools in the Shapes menu. And then if I want to write some sort of note that my students will then see, this will be on the test, then I can do this. I can move around in here to fix little typos that I make, and I can change the color of the text that I use as well, just like I can change the color of the lines. Once you add elements to your screen in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, they become pieces that you can move around using the Select tool. So you can reposition text, you could delete something, You can change the size of something if you want to make it larger or smaller. So the select tool allows you to do that. If you want to remove all of the things that you've annotated, you can use the clear tool. It's important to know that Blackboard Collaborate Ultra will clear things as you advance. So if you underline a word on a slide, then advance your slide, and then return to the previous slide, that underline marking that I made underneath the word statistics has now cleared. So any annotation that you do is specific to that display and will clear as you progress away from that on your slides. Once you're done sharing a file, you can select the Stop Sharing option to close that view for the students. And you can see that your left panel here has that slide removed, but the file is still visible to you on the right should you want to open that up again to your students. The other three types of primary content that you can share include the whiteboard, the application, and the camera. So the whiteboard has the same features as the annotation tools in the sharing file option. It's just a blank screen, like a whiteboard in your classroom that you can write on. Once you select Share Blank Whiteboard, so let's just stop this right now and select it again, it automatically becomes visible to your students. So there's no further selection that needs to happen. Once you click on this, then becomes something that you could draw on, you could write on, you can type notes on, and that's all visible to the students here. And again, you can select the particular items that you want to keep or reposition or delete. If you need to zoom in on something that you have included on your board here, you have that ability. This is within the Share Files option as well. And then you can reset the size. So you have options to zoom in and focus on particular things if there's a point of your image or your PowerPoint or your PDF or your whiteboard that you really want to highlight to the students. Once you're done, you can stop up here using the Stop Sharing menu, or you can stop sharing over here in the Share Content folder. As you're teaching, you may navigate away from this to go over into the chat panel. If you see a question come in from a student, you might want to read that question. You might ask your students a question and want to see their responses. So you may not always stay over here with this Share Content menu. And that's why it's important to know how to stop sharing from within the display that the students are seeing. All right, the next option that you have within Blackboard Collaborate Ultra is to share an application. So if you have different programs open, you can share those. They could be another web browser, they could be an application like Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word. I have an example with Microsoft Excel. So in statistics for psychology, I teach my students how to use different types of technology tools like Excel to perform calculations. Maybe I want to show them how to enter in a formula, and I can display that for the students to see. Once that application is shared, that screen within your computer is live. And so if you type some new formula, like let's say you want to average the data within this column, well, that then becomes something that the students are seeing live. And you get that number, that formula, whatever you're trying to do there. You then select the Stop Sharing link to close that and return back to the Blackboard Collaborate Ultra view. It's important to know that when you're doing share applications, any programs you have open on your computer will be visible to the students. So if you have a web browser open with the title of an article that you're viewing, the students potentially could see that if you clicked on that title, if that was the application that you shared. It's important to kind of be aware of what things you have open on your computer, how you've named your files, if you're going to be sharing something from your computer with your students. All right, the very last option for sharing different types of visuals within Blackboard Collaborate Ultra is to share a video of you teaching. Blackboard Collaborate Ultra recommends that you only do this if it's necessary because it takes a bit more bandwidth to share a video of you live rather than the smaller files. But if you need to talk to your students, if you want them to see your face and kind of have that connection, you can select Share Camera. Now again, just like with the slides, you have a preview. So you can see me here. This says Video Preview. This is me sharing the video just to me first so I can see how things are set up. If I'm happy with how this is in terms of lighting, I've made sure I'm presentable, all that stuff is good, I select Share Camera. And then now this left panel here in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra becomes the display of me now talking to my students. What I typically do is I will share a video of myself at the very beginning of class to say hi to the students, to make any announcements, and then I turn that off and just keep the audio on while I'm teaching. All right, so I've closed that, again, using that square to stop that visual display to the students. All right, so just to summarize, in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, you have 4 different types of primary content that you can share with your students. You can share files like PowerPoints or PDFs. You can use a whiteboard to write or draw. You can share applications and select other types of programs that you have on your computer. And then you can share a camera to display yourself talking or lecturing to your students. All right, so I hope that helps you get more comfortable using Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Thank you very much.